Previously on The Amazing Spider-Man.
The list is growing shorter. It'd be impossible for my luck to hold out for as long as it has.
The rest is just some sort of list, a bunch of names. My name? The man I rescued from the burning building was Jonathan Rickman. General Tektronics Research Labs.
Start with Rickman. Go see him. Talk to him.
We're going to die!
Hope you look good in black, because you're about to become a widow.
Dr. Otto Octavius has had better days.
Here we are, Otto. Oh, I am sorry. You prefer Dr. Octopus these days, don't you? Okay, Doc Ock, here we are. And the fun is only starting. I am sorry about that little brawl back at the hospital, but it just wouldn't have done to have you disposing of Mr. Rickman. Not yet. Sorry about that fourth tentacle of yours. I really wasn't expecting you to put up such a fight. Pretty impressive for a man your age, and a scientist at that. There was a time when the mere thought of such supervillain nonsense would have made Otto Octavius blush. Costumes, catchy monikers, the Sinister Six. What were you thinking? Not the man of science I once knew. But that is neither here nor there. You did me a favor by showing up at the hospital when you did. Yours has been the one name on my list which has caused me some concern. Parker and Rickman are nothing but normal human beings. They can be dealt with at any time, just like the rest were. But you are the exception. A little more feisty, a bit more experienced, and more than likely the key for which I've been looking.
Who are you?
You don't know, do you? Good. For now, you can simply call me Captain Power. A fitting name, don't you think? Certainly one which fits both my abilities and appearance. Relax, Otto. We're going to have a long day ahead of us. The degree of discomfort you experience is totally up to you.
I do not know who you are, or what you think you are, but you are compounding an already serious mistake by presuming that you can have your way with me.
We will see, Otto. We will see.
Oh yes, we will. You have no idea, my impudent friend.
Meanwhile, at the NYU Medical Center.
How did this all happen without me hearing it? I was just a few rooms away while Doc Ock was engaged in a battle with I don't even know who. And I missed it all. Maybe my luck is taking a turn for the better. Or maybe Doc Ock is connected to everything that's been going on in some way. Rickman, the guy I rescued from the fire last night, said that all the people on that list, all the disappearances, they're connected to the explosion at the Tektronics Research Laboratories from a few years back. The Doc Ock connection makes sense. It was his experiment that went wrong. He was the one on stage when the explosion occurred. I can't believe how much of all that happened that day I've tried to forget. I almost died that day. I would have too, if it wasn't for an itsy-bitsy spider, a bite, and some weird effect that the radiation had on his metabolism, and mine. So, after spending what felt like an eternity in the hospital, I became Spider-Man, and never thought that there might have been other survivors of the accident. Maybe others with superpowers? I've got to try and talk to Rickman about what he knows. But I'm thinking now isn't the time. The doctors are never going to allow me to get close to him. I better check in with my job at Tricorp and then go see how May is doing. I just don't seem to be able to spend as much time with her as I'd like.
Okay, Charlie, I've got everything I need. The crime scene is all yours. Ock's tentacle is right where it must have fallen. Pack it, seal it up tight, and get it to the lab, boys.
Makes you wonder how some guys get to be detectives when they're scared of their own shadows. Thing doesn't look too scary to me. What the?
I am at a loss, Peter. I had such high hopes for you when we hired you. But your spotty attendance, you just seem so distracted, unable to muster the enthusiasm I thought I saw in you. The enthusiasm which led me to believe you were the perfect candidate for a job at Tricorp.
I'm sorry, Dr. Twaki, but...
Please, Peter, do not insult either of us with excuses. We are a scientific research foundation. We expect committed adults to work here. I had, and still have, faith in your abilities, son. I don't know what your problems are, but work them out. Please, don't let me down.
Yes, sir. I'm not gonna blow this one.
Half a world away.
No! There's got to be a flight back to the United States earlier than that.
Miss Parker, we are waiting.
Mary Jane Parker, supermodel and wife of the hapless Peter, deals with problems of her own.
New York City. That's right. I'll take it.
Miss Parker?
Just wait! I'm trying to have a conversation here!
At that moment, back in New York City.
What do we got here? Excellent. She's coming to me.
And as Peter arrives home to the penthouse apartment he shares with the often absent Mary Jane and his aged Aunt May.
Aunt May? Jill?
Oh, Peter!
Jill, what is it?
It's my father, Peter. I'm so scared. He's...
But I just saw your dad earlier today. He seemed fine, recovering from his wounds.
That's how he deals with things. Keep up the brave face. But I can't any longer. Not when he's...
I want to help her. But I'm so distracted.
He's scared, Peter. More scared than I've ever seen before. And nothing scares my dad. He's been trying to get my brother Paul and me to leave town, and we won't. It's making him crazy.
All this list stuff, MJ being incommunicado, and the threatening phone calls she's been getting?
I'm so worried.
I'm so worried too. Wait a minute. Doc Ock, Tectonics Research? Their lab is right on Long Island. It's a start.
There's the doorbell. I'll get it, dear.
Peter, are you listening to me?
Yeah, Jill. I'm sorry. What is your father scared about?
Not what. Who? Ward. Senator Ward. I've never seen him like this. I don't know what Ward has done, but he's gotten to my father in a big way. I'm afraid, Peter. Afraid for my father, and afraid of what he might do.
Enough! Why would you come to him of all people, Jill? And yet, it's exactly where I expected to find you.
Paul!
This doesn't concern him. The last thing we need is him involved in our business. Him or his buddy Spider-Man. They've never been too healthy for our family, Jill. Or have you forgotten that so soon? Remember Uncle George and Cousin Gwen? Dad needs us to be strong for him now, Jill. Are you coming home or not? Stay out of our lives, Parker. Consider that a warning.
I'm sorry, Peter, but he is my brother, and...
Stop apologizing for me!
Well, he certainly is an unpleasant lad, isn't he?
Yeah, May. He is.
Hello? Hello? Peter? It's a machine. Peter, if you get this, I'm coming home. I can't believe we haven't spoken. I'm sorry. It's just that...
It wasn't you, Peter. There were phone calls and I'll explain it all to you when I get there. I love you, Peter. Always will. No matter what. If you get this, try and pick me up at the airport. I can't wait to see you. I miss you. Here's my flight info.
At that moment, Peter is far from home and in full Spider-Man mode.
There it is. The General Tectonics Labs. I thought the old building would have been torn down by now. The accident pretty much put the company out of business. I heard they had to sell off most everything just to handle the litigation. The accident. The word makes it sound so clean. From inside, it was anything but. It's been so long, and yet... the snapshots of terror across everyone's faces? I can still see. I hate having to think about it all again. Spider sense is tingling. There's something here.
Are we ready to begin, Otto?
Perhaps if you told me what you were looking for, I could help. If it's a variation in the blood rad level...
Please, Otto. Do not try and impress. All chances of that happening faded long ago, when you started parading around with your tentacles, robbing banks and battling costume vigilantes. What a waste of a once formidable mind.
You always were a pretentious snob, Chris.
Excuse me?
Did you think I wouldn't be able to ascertain who you were? Though you have certainly changed, Chris. I will give you that.
How did you know?
The clues were all around me, Chris. You said it yourself. My once formidable mind put them all together. I spent too many years observing your handiwork not to recognize your pitiful attempts at a laboratory operation. So all of this, all that you have done, is in a simple attempt to put together the pieces of what happened here a few years back? Ha! All you had to do was ask, Chris. I'll tell you everything.
The danger sense is growing stronger and stronger as I get near this business. It looks like I found it. Whatever it happens to be.
I am afraid you are too late, Spider-Man. This time, the bad guy has gotten away. He has one more person to kill. I assume you know all about the list? Well, suffice to say, I've helped him narrow it down to one name. I may have even saved a few lives. Who would have thought?
No more games, Doc. Who is he going after?
I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
Because of that. I do play helpless rather well, do I not? You of all people should know that that is never the case. Now, I suppose I am obliged to provide the answers which so obviously elude you. Very well. It all goes back to a demonstration of pure science. I was one of the many drones in the employ of General Tectonics. There was an explosion, one which occurred due to no fault of my own. My calibrations were, as always, flawless, but GLT chose to make me their whipping boy. I was disowned, disgraced, and left to fend for myself against the coming storm. Interestingly, while I was cast aside by GTL, they chose to keep the patients and all rights to my works. The company was disbanded, and I was the primary defendant in all the civil lawsuits which followed. Though, given my change in legal status, the lawsuits were pointless. But there was one who tried. A former assistant, Dr. Christina Carr. She was crippled in the blast and sought vengeance against me. The poor thing apparently became emotionally imbalanced in the aftermath. When she could not take out her rage upon me, she set her madness against everyone who was connected to the blast, including the victims she felt had been unfairly spared. Now she is going to destroy that which GLT has become, Tricorp. And she plans on beginning with Dr. Twaki, my former supervisor, the man who cast me to the wolves. Twaki deserves death for what he did. It is exactly why I orchestrated that little charade. Carr's madness was caused by exposure to radiation at the time of the explosion. It caused a mutagenic reaction in her blood. But with madness came great power, and the ability to morph into a being of great power. The problem is, she's killing herself every time she uses the power. But I can tell you how to stop her, if you are fast enough.
Joaquin, where are you? You are going to die for what you let happen to me, Twaki.
What? Who are you? What are you talking about?
Ock just let me go. Told me how to stop Carr and then took off. He's up to something else, but knew I'd have to rush off and try to save Twaki. The only thing I hate more than losing to Ock is being used by him. Stop the car! Dr. Christina Carr! There's no point to this!
What?
You know? You know who I am? Then you've got to die first.
Come on, Chris. Why do you want to do that? That's it. Follow the bouncing spider.
Don't you dare make fun of me. You have no idea of the pain I have lived through. The explosion. thought it was the worst of it, but I wish I had died that day.
Oh, come on. Don't say that. There's always something worth living for. Keep following me. Ock told me what to do, but there's no way I'm going to trust him. What he doesn't know is that I'd be sharp enough to be able to modify his plan.
What are you doing? You think this is going to stop me?
Well, I was hoping...
You're killing him! You must stop!
No, Doctor. All I'm doing is using an energy transversion to short out the mutagenic morphing power for a while. Dr. Octopus wanted Carr dead, but I made the necessary modifications to ensure that it wouldn't happen.
And this is supposed to be a favor. Some act of mercy. The mutagen in my blood is killing me. It ruined my life. And now you have denied me the only thing I was living for. Vengeance. Thanks a lot, hero. I hope I can return the favor someday.
Sorry, sir, but Mr. Rickman has passed away.
What? When?
A couple hours ago. The doctor said his injuries were worse than expected. I'm sorry.
So that leaves 3 survivors of the accident. And all 3 of us are messed up in some way. How lucky am I? I could easily have let the accident affect me in the same way it did Ock and Carr. Could have let it drive me to madness. Yeah, like I'm the picture of mental health. A grown man who puts on spandex and swings from rooftops in order to fight crime? Maybe I'm as insane as they are. But I guess it could always be worse. I'm lucky to have survived. Lucky to not be insane. Still, I can't help but think. How much luckier I'd be if I'd never become Spider-Man.
I can't wait to be home again. Can't wait to tell Peter everything. I see Jonah is still up to his old tricks, blaming Spider-Man for everything under the sun. And Peter is still managing to get enough pictures to... Wait a minute. The only way that Peter was able to get all those photos of Spider-Man before was that he was taking pictures of himself. But he's not supposed to be Spider-Man anymore. Is he?
Next time on The Amazing Spider-Man.
The phone calls started a little while ago.
Brock. Former reporter Eddie Brock. It's gotta be.
I'd heard Brock escaped from prison, but the symbiote?
I just got a telegram from Mary Jane. She's coming home.
I want you dead. We're back.